Wager Talk's last call. Kelly in Vegas with you this beautiful Saturday morning. We got World Cup action. We've got NBA Game 5. We've got hockey tomorrow. Andrew McInnis is going to join us for that, as well as CFL. Hakeem Profit. And of course, we've got the America 250 UFC matches with Kyle Anthony. But first, we're going to check in with our resident UFC expert, VR. He's got everything that we could possibly need. I got my pen and paper ready. You guys know the drill. What's up, VR? Good morning. Appreciate you as always. Up and at it early there on the West Coast. I'm going to just kind of let you do your thing like I do every single Saturday, guys. So if you're new here and you're like, what's going on? I just let the dog off the leash. Yes, VR is the proverbial dog in this one. And I let him run and I take notes because I learn just as much talking to him as you guys do.
Kel, I have so much information. I swear to you, I haven't even had my cup of coffee. Like I'm OCD, so I do everything in order, or like it's chaos for me. And I still haven't been able to get like my morning routine of coffee because they just started firing early. And I know they're like, this is the time they do so well. I need to get down. So I'm going to take you guys all around the world because I have nothing but info for you. This will be a little preview of what we're going to cover later in the steam room. Obviously, we can go in more detail, but we got a lot of sports to cover real quickly. NHL is until tomorrow. Obviously, Carolina's in the driver's seat. I talked about it on Wager Talk today. Wise guys have not let up on Carolina. They bet Carolina for the series. They bet Carolina to win game 1 and win the series. When Carolina lost game 1, they bet Carolina in the adjusted series line in game 2. When Carolina won game 2, they bet Carolina to win the series again in game 3. When Vegas won game 3, they bet Carolina again in game 4, and then bet Carolina to win the series again before game 4, before game 5. Like they've been piling up as much risk as possible in Carolina just because on paper, you will not get a bigger mismatch in the finals on paper. And this comes from an NHL originator that I'm actually good friends with that I got to talk to. And I said, bro, why are you betting? Like, why do you want so much on Carolina? Like, we have enough, because he even had a future on him at plus 350. And he's like, bro, I just looked where the EV is. And each and after every game, they're just mispricing it. So I don't care whether it's a Carolina bet or whether it's Chattanooga. For me, it's just a bet. He's like, and it happens to be another bet on Carolina. So if I'm piling up more risk on Carolina, it probably means Carolina's a pretty good bet to win these finals. That's exactly what he said to me. So we'll see what happens there, but I hope he's right with Carolina. NBA, no sharp action, no surprise, because we're in uncharted territory. We have an outlier series. Very rarely has an NBA finals ever broken down like this, where the road team wins the first 2 on the road, then they lose game 3 at home. Like it's just gone very different than what we've ever seen. And more importantly, we're coming off a very pivotal game where not only was it the biggest comeback in finals history, but now what do you do? Like if you're the Knicks, do you take a day off because you have the series all but assured? And if you're the Spurs, you were up by almost 30 and a record was broken against you in a bad way. How do you respond? So I wasn't surprised to not see a lot of sharp money immediately, but historically they would be on the Spurs in this spot. And that's why, even though there's public money on the Knicks, this line isn't down to like 4.5, because I'm seeing that they are, when it's down to 5 or 5 minus 05, I'm seeing some sharp money on Spurs, but more importantly on the Spurs money line as that point spread drops. MLB, real quickly, I'll give you a couple plays off of the steam sheet. Arizona minus 130 and the over 962 Toronto plus 110 and the under 7.5. 971 St. Louis even money. 976 Washington minus 105. Now, we also have college baseball today. I released a 4% in college baseball. I'm 6-1 in these college baseball playoffs. Been very selective. Found a premium based on my power ratings. We'll see how that does. But I also have a steam sheet play on Oklahoma at minus 120. I think they're about minus 125 right now. Definitely, it's priced now to where it should be. Like, I don't think it should be minus 150. That's why I can't release a premium on it. But I do think at minus 120, it's still Like it's worth a free play. Like if you need, it's a decent bet. Oklahoma should be able to get this game won, and they should be a little bigger favorite at least in this matchup with Alabama. Alabama opened as the favorite, and you see it flip. So sharp money on Oklahoma. That extracted some of the value. If I was able to get Oklahoma at even money, that would have been a premium as well. But we are on the Texas and Georgia game. Now, what else do I have for you? WNBA real quickly. Connecticut -9.5. Minnesota +3. LA +1.5, +1, and pick 'em. And finally, under in Dallas, Portland. Finally, I know you want to talk World Cup. Here's what I have. I power rated all of the World Cup through next Wednesday, and I just wait to see what they come in on and if it matches up. So far today, here's what we got. Public heavy on Brazil. They're betting Brazil like they know the final score, and they're betting Switzerland like they know the final score. Now, the Switzerland I can understand against Qatar. Why? Because Switzerland power rated wise is just so much better. Switzerland's in my top 20. Qatar's not in my top 60. So big mismatch on paper. Brazil, Morocco, not so much. In fact, on the Steam sheet, we actually have Morocco at +1 goal. And what was that? -120. Because they're much closer than the narrative. That's what I love, that I don't follow soccer year round. So I don't even know what the narrative is out there about who the best teams are. I simply have the power ratings to go off of. And so far, they've produced okay. Again, it's early in the World Cup. I don't know what the results are. But I mean, soccer in 2026, #1 in profit. So we're doing something right. With that said, Brazil, right outside of my top 5. Morocco, right outside of my top 10. So these two teams, much closer than what that number reflects. And more importantly, what all the money's coming in on. Like I said, they are betting Brazil like they have tomorrow's paper. And I say be careful with that. We'll talk Australia and Turkey. Another one that is a little bit confusing to me. I'm going to wait and see if I see any information come in, because power rating wise, I like Australia, but I see they're from +390. Now they're +400 on the three-way line. So I'm missing something there, because at least on paper, it should be a much more competitive matchup between Turkey and Australia than, Turkey in the three-way being a -150. So I'll dig into that. We still have plenty of time. That's the late game at 12 p.m. Eastern. So again, a lot of information, a lot of markets, but that's where we have an advantage, because we get to pick and choose. The sportsbook doesn't. They have to post a line for every single game, or else you're going to go across the street and bet it over there. So they have to offer everything. We have the opportunity to just choose and pick. And I can promise you, there's not 70 people behind every sportsbook wall, like working all these markets. It's the same 1, 2, 3 people in that admin room adjusting these point spreads. So you could find a lot of inefficiencies when there's this many markets. You just got to be selective and be patient and not get too excited with all the primetime action, like what all because when all the lights are shining bright somewhere, you'll find value elsewhere. Like when all the attention is on the World Cup, boom, we found a 4% in college baseball. Why? Because no one's looking at college baseball. We found a bet in WNBA. Why? Because nobody's looking at WNBA. They're all paying attention right now to the World Cup, to the NBA game, playoff game tonight. So don't overlook those smaller markets. And there, at least you could also be more sure when you see a line move that it's legit, because you don't have the kind of action that the money line, the adjustment is square, meaning it's a market that it's the wise guys versus the books right now. Like WNBA market, wise guys, books. Maybe there's some, recreational WNBA players, but for the most part, it's the books against the wise guys. World Cup, that's not the case. So you see a big line movement, you can't conclude, is that sharp? Is that square? Why is it moving? But right now, I can promise you, if it's moving in WNBA, if it's moving in college baseball, if it's moving in those smaller markets, it's a legit move, because they don't have liquidity on the other side. There's no one betting the other side. So sorry I went long, but it's just to tell you, this is nothing but opportunities for you during this time of the year. It's summer, we usually take off, but there's a lot to do, There's
no time to take off, especially when we have so many things going on right now at the same time, VR. You got the Steam sheet here at 1 p.m. Eastern. Who's invited to that today?
I think it's subscribers. I think it's the partners, because I was coming off a bad streak, a losing streak. And I want to make sure that those guys that partner with me for 2026, that I'm there for them. You know what I mean? So that we could make sure we get back on the right page and get everyone lined up so that when we're positive for the year, they're positive for the year as well. That's the goal. Like I don't want to be up and them not be up. So we had a cold streak a few weeks ago, and I know a few people probably got wiped out. So I always make sure we cover that so that they're able to get the most out of their subscription as well. So again, Steam Room will be for, I think, just partners, long-term subscribers today. Yeah, we got a lot to get into.
Good stuff. I can't wait to go over to WagerTalk.com, check out the Steam sheet, see if I agree with anything over there for today's card. Before you leave us, I need a pick for the UFC Freedom 250.
Don't fall for the Derek Lewis trap. Hokett's going to beat him. I know it's chalky now. I got down like minus 350, but even now it's still at a discount. So you want to have Hokett. Here's the problem. It's a chalky card. I'll give you a dog. Stake Steve Garcia in the first fight against Diego Lopez. It's much closer to a coin flip, Kel, than Lopez being a 2-1 favorite. Usually a guy like Garcia, you'd be looking to fade because he'd be overvalued. He's won 7 straight fights, 3 bonuses in his last 4, 3 first-round finishes in his last 4, but it's his opponent that offers us this value because Diego Lopez just gets a ton of money, and unfortunately for his backers, he's his success is his downfall. Like at the betting window, you just don't get value on him. So Steve Garcia at anything better than like plus 125, which is readily available, I think is the right side. So Steve Garcia plus money. That's the live dog for us tomorrow.
Awesome stuff from VR, as always, every single Saturday here on Last Call. And of course, every single Wednesday, bet on it. He's going to be back with me and Marco D'Angelo this fall.
Great.
And that's a pretty good segue, guys, because we've got some stuff going on here at WagerTalk.com. I want to talk about right now NFL and college football, $250 off using coupon code USA250. So if you guys are looking to partner up with somebody for the football season, this is the way to do it. All right, I didn't even ask him to come on for WNBA, but I'm going to put him on the spot. I got Hakeem Prophet joining me. Also from the West Coast, bright and early out there. Hakeem, always appreciate you guys grinding for me early out there on the West Coast. I don't miss it for a second. I love getting to sleep in. We went to the casino last night. I know you can appreciate that, but I still don't feel that awful this morning. If I had done that in Vegas, I would be hurting bad.
That's me. That's me right now. I mean, they had the World Cup stuff out here. I was hanging around there, going to little bars and events and just having fun with people. So I had a good time yesterday. It's kind of how I'm feeling is lingering over to this morning, but it's all good.
Hey, it doesn't matter. You already loaded your NBA winner. If you guys have not seen this yet, Hakeem gets to come on Last Call. I asked him to come on Last Call whenever he's on fire, and usually he's like, no, it's too early for me. But this man is on absolute fire, and I said, you can't get out of it this time. And I was on Newsmax this morning. I have a friend that's a producer over there, and they said, Cal, you want to come on? And I'm like, oh, God. Let me look. And you know what I did? I went over to WagerTalk.com and I gave out Skee's play. I cheated this morning. I had to do it. Because I thought, I don't love anything in this series, but it has been such a good series. But we do know how hard it is to clinch an NBA Finals on the road. Break down this game for me tonight and our audience so they have an idea of what they should be looking at as far as the side goes, because I know you have a play on the total. Is that a 4% play?
No, it's a 5% play.
It is a 5% play.
I really love. Got a lot of data to back it up from what we've been watching. It makes me feel even better. But what we've seen so far, I mean, the Spurs have really just shot themselves in the foot time and time again. If you're a person who still has belief in the Spurs, who thinks that, they're going to come out here and play a really good game, I think you have to look at the first quarter at the very least. I mean, they've won every single first quarter this series. You can even date it back to the regular season. I know because personally, I have a friend who's been betting it all year, and I know how profitable it's been. So Spurs are really good at punching first. With their back against the wall, I'd expect them to do that here tonight. The other thing to ask is this Spurs team the kind of team that will give up, that will just let go of the rope? And I just don't view them like that. You look at the last game, for one, I think they'll get some help. There are a lot of calls that in the last 2 minutes, they put the report out and went against the Spurs when they shouldn't have. I think that the Spurs should have learned from giving a game away a couple of times. And this time, you'll see them continue to, play hard the entire stretch. In the last game, they got a 30-point lead. They took the foot off the gas. They stopped playing the way that that they're used to playing, the way that they have success. They started playing slow, just trying to milk the clock. And it wasn't successful. So I think because of that, they've learned. They are a very young team. They've done it now a couple of times. I don't think they'll do it again here. And they're at home with the crowd behind them. I think the Spurs are the right side tonight. I know you probably love to hear that because don't you have a future or something?
I do, and it's been dead since the Knicks went up 2-0. I'm like, all right, we're just going to bet this game by game. You gave out the under in the last game, and it was trending in like the 230s. The Spurs could not miss a three, and I was like in hell. I was like half eyeballing it. We're talking about the West Coast staying up late. On the East Coast, I go to bed early because you're just like, we'll figure out the score in the morning. That's not ever going to be the case because I can't help myself. And there I am, one eyeballing it, watching the game on my phone going, whoa, we're in the 220s now. Now we're in the teens. Okay. What a comeback by the Knicks in that game. But more importantly, they just couldn't keep shooting 60% from three. And they also stopped trying to keep hitting those monster threes. As you mentioned, they started playing slow. They started milking the clock. But as far as that series goes, I'd, of course, love to see the Spurs end up on top. But boy, do the Knicks look good. My only question is, I think if you're the Knicks, you want to either close it out today, which is Saturday, or you want to close it out at home because you do not want to go to game 7. They don't have a deep enough bench, I think, to go these 7-game series, which is why we saw them do so well throughout the Eastern Conference Finals, Skee.
I think that the Knicks, for one, I think their mentality is very strong. I mean, this is a team that has underperformed year after year. You have a player on this team who was up 2-0 in the NBA Finals and then lost 4 games in a row. I don't think this is a team that would be very satisfied. So I do think you get a really good effort out of the Knicks. I don't know. It's a couple other things that are bothering me that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Player props.
Okay.
Champagne. He's been pretty good. He's been pretty consistent. There are a couple of ways to look at him. For one, we know that, the Knicks want to keep Victor away from the paint. And because of that, you get a lot of these other guys, guards, or even Champagne going in to get these rebounds. So his rebound prop to start the series was really low. I think that's still worth a look. He's also a guy that, because the way that San Antonio puts pressure on the rim and the Knicks want to protect the rim, there's a lot of open threes for guys. They just got to hit them. And the guy who's been shooting pretty well is Champagne. So whether you want to look at his threes, you want to look at his rebounds, maybe even points and rebounds, I think that Champagne is definitely worth a look. I saw that comment about the Spurs first quarter. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. On the other side, I wanted to mention, Finals MVP, I'm not really big in that market, but you're still getting plus money to take OG Anunoby. I feel like it's pretty clear he's had the best series out of everybody. And one game even from Brunson or Cat tonight, I don't think that would overlook it. OG is clearly the reason why they won the series, and you're getting close to 2-1 to take him to win the Finals MVP. I think that could be worth a look.
That definitely is an interesting thought process I was on, and I forget what his name was. He's a former Knicks player, and then he won NBA Finals with the Chicago Bulls, and he mentioned OG as well. So keep an eye on that, and you might be paying a little bit of premium. I think his name was Tucker.
Tucker?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. I know.
See, you
were a little kid. You were a little kid. I was a little kid, and you were a really little kid. So, in fairness, we don't have to remember all of that stuff. And I was a Bulls fan growing up. You think I would remember? All right, what? I digress. I know. That's another story for another time. Before we get you out of here, I am going to hold you to that WNBA pick. VR mentioned Minnesota, Connecticut, LA, and then the under in Dallas. Do you agree with any of those? Have you released any WNBA to your clients today?
Over in Dallas. Can you repeat them?
Yep. Minnesota, Connecticut, Los Angeles, and then the under in the Dallas game. Okay.
Well, I am on the same pick in one of those games, and that's the Connecticut side. I think that's absolutely the right side. This Fever team, for one, they're coming off an overtime game. They haven't been playing great basketball lately. I'm pretty sure they failed to cover in 3 games straight. And they're one of their best players, Caitlin Clark, is getting picked on every night defensively. For the Sun, they're a team who, to start the year, they were missing their point guard, and they were looking extremely bad. So because of that, how do I say? They're like, the market thinks that they're worse than they are right now. Now they got their best player back, Layla, and they're healthy. They've been playing better basketball. They've covered 3 straight. They're at home here with the rest advantage. I got Connecticut plus 10.5. I think they keep that one close. Outside of that, I would just say for VR, Minnesota, they have a really good starting 5. Their chemistry is off the charts. I'm not sure that they've lost the first quarter so far this season. I mean, I know that the Aces also have a really good starting lineup, but that's whenever I look at Minnesota, I look at taking the first quarter. So I'll throw that out there. As far as the under in Portland and Dallas, I think that Portland has lost a few games, and you should get a really good effort from them. The kind of team they are, really, really feisty defensively. So that makes sense to bet the under in that game. I could get with that for VR. And LA and Phoenix has just been very disappointing this year. LA, clearly superior offensively, and it's just if you want to trust them. They've been doing a lot of talking about.
I was going to say, you're paying a premium for this team.
They've been doing a lot of talking about the defensive end, and they've showed it in stretches. They just haven't been able to do it for a full game. If they can do it for a full game tonight, they can win.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Again, appreciate Skee up bright and early there. Go back and enjoy the World Cup. What a game last night against Paraguay. I was watching the casino, and it was just so fun because I don't know anything about soccer, but it brings us all together. So I hope you have a great time out there on the West Coast. Skee Profit, absolutely locked and loaded, on fire, guys. Make sure you guys get on board with him and ride the rest of that hot streak through the NBA Finals. We've got a couple other things going on over at WagerTalk.com that I wanted to mention to you guys. Right now, we've got wrong one. You guys, I got to get better at this. I got to remove that. I got to do this. See, look at this. I told Dan Alexander I didn't need him this morning. That was a lie. I probably always need a producer. But right now, we got a MLB special right now. If you guys missed Total Bases this morning, Tokyo Brandon hosted with Brian Leonard. No Adam Trigger, but they still went the entire hour. So they went over the entire baseball slate. You can catch it over there on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And you guys can also partner with them for the rest of the MLB season. $449. That's right, under $3.20 per day. MLB special right now, WagerTalk.com with your favorite WagerTalk MLB handicapper. We got Andrew McInnis coming up. We've got Kyle Anthony coming up. I'm really excited to talk both sports with these guys, mainly because these are not sports that I follow, but these are sports that I love to bet because, well, there's money to be made. So whether it's the World Cup, whether it's CFL, whether it's the NHL, or whether it's UFC, we're going to bring in Andrew McInnis right now. Andrew, host of Puck Time. Good morning, Andrew. It is bright there.
Good morning, Kelly. How are you?
Oh, doing pretty good. I was laughing with Skee that good thing I don't live on the West Coast anymore. Otherwise, I would be hurting from the casino this morning. But I had enough time to recover. And the World Cup game was fun. I know not for you guys up north. I am in the ride with one of our producers, Tom Viola, and Carmine, your second fiddle there on Puck Time. And I saw that Trent gave out Bosnia and Carmine. Yeah. And I were talking about it. I go, oh, this game's totally going to end in a draw. And do you think I bet the draw? Of course I did not. Of course I did not.
I also saw Trent gave out Paraguay, so he was taking one for the team.
Oh, he had to. I think he at least is enough of a patriotic guy that he knows, like, all right, I got to give out. Otherwise, because if he gives up the United States and we lose to Paraguay in the first round, oh boy, it's not going to go over very well. Well, I brought you on because I want to talk about Game 6 tomorrow in the NHL, but I also want to talk about CFL. You've got a lot of stuff going on with CFL. Talk about your show that you brought back from last year. Who's on it? What you guys break down when it's on?
Yeah, Kelly, I appreciate it. The show is called the CFL Betting Blueprint. We do the show on Tuesdays. And I feel like Tuesday still isn't even enough because lines are popping up on Mondays now. But CFL, as you talk about, softer market, the numbers move. Like when you think about a line move in NFL or college, you got to think about like 2 more points when it comes to CFL. That's how much you need to get ahead of it and get the best number possible. So the promo code is CFL299 to get my whole package, because if you do not check out the CFL Betting Blueprint, Bobby DeBoe, Terry Edelman from picksandparlays.net, you're going to miss out on the best numbers possible. And with this package in particular, you're going to get the plays the second that I release them. Number 1 in 2025 with CFL, 8-2 CFL run, 11-4 CFL run. and a 5% play going today. So it's pretty good timing to be here on the show with you. But it's a fun show. It's only 4 games. We're breaking down all the games. We're breaking down kind of reactions, angles, and coaching quotes and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, like, if there's a league to be contrarian in, it's the CFL. But right now, there's some trends you just got to get behind. And if you can follow those trends, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So, but Kelly, we all believe in it, I should say, in full transparency. I got to say, as much as the 8-2 run, 11-4 run, I'm 1-2 on the weekend so far. And so, look, the 5% play couldn't come at a better time tonight. You know, it's like, hey, look, we got to hit all the plays, but the big one tonight, really looking forward to that. Last night, there were 7s available, but I owe it to my clients to give out consensus numbers. So we lost a +6.5 on the Argos, leading all game or covering all game for about 55 minutes, and they lose that one, and we did lose on Thursday. So, look, we believe in full transparency. I study the CFL very, very close, but it honestly just builds the hype even more for today's play.
Yeah, I do. I do agree. Those 5% plays, I almost demand perfection. I know that's impossible, but as a WagerTalk owner, those are the ones you got to hit. Okay, let's talk on a couple of these games that maybe narrowly missed your card for today before we get into the NHL finals for tomorrow.
Yeah, CFL?
Yes, please.
Let's jump into it. Okay, so we've got a rematch of the Western Conference Finals for last year. So at least the CFL did something right early on in the season, giving us a rematch. I know there's only a handful of teams in the whole league, but this is going to have some hype to it. They leave this for the last game of the season here. We got 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. You know, a veteran with Trevor Harris, younger guy with Nate Rourke. But to me, when I look at this spot here, Kelly, just from a simple breakdown of looking at the odds page, using odds logic, looking at the numbers here, this to me seems to be a bit of a discount for the home team. We've seen money come in a little bit more here on BC. The numbers kind of fluctuated back and forth. But based on this number, they're telling us neutral site BC would be a handful favorite here, which I disagree with. When it comes to the CFL, there's a handful of teams that I really care about home field advantage for. And the other teams, it doesn't really matter as much to me. But Saskatchewan, if you're going to give me the money line at -120, 122 here, even more specific, the first half is very intriguing for me. For them to get out, establish the run game, one of the best running backs in the league with AJ Ouellette. I feel like that's the play here. You know, BC is kind of like the Western version of Montreal. They're kind of like that shiny, flashy object. Everyone loves the quarterback. He's Canadian. He had a little stint trying to try out for some NFL teams, comes back. He's going to be the guy that probably wins most outstanding player for several years in a row. I think that the side to look at is Saskatchewan, and specifically in the first half here. Kelly, they're just simply not accounting for home field advantage for the way I look at it in this one.
Let's talk about home field advantage because, listen, we all know that the CFL is not the NFL, but there is still a lot of people that go to these games. Like I remember my friend's husband was playing for the Adronauts. They won the Grey. Like these games are packed, but it is still early in the season. So talk to me about home field advantage early in the season in places like Saskatchewan or BC or Toronto, especially with other sports going on, right? We've got no Canadian hockey teams, but it doesn't matter. Canadians are still watching the Stanley Cup Finals. You've got Canada in the World Cup. Tell me why you think that even this early in the season that a home field advantage is prevalent.
I do have to say, Kelly, to your Stanley Cup thing there, though, America, this Stanley Cup has been awesome for America. And you should see it from the semifinals to now. The ratings have plummeted in Canada. So as much as we're still watching, the casual viewers have checked out. It's pretty much people like me that watch it anyway, no matter who's playing.
And people preying on Marner's downfall.
Yes,
he played for the leagues for so long, which is why I'm kind of cheering for the guy. All right, fine. I digress.
Hilarious.
Talk to me about the CFL home field advantage, what we should be looking for. That way you can, like guys like to power rate their own stuff. I know you like to power rate your CFL teams. Talk to me about these 8 teams and who you would say has the best home field advantage.
Yeah, I think I would probably use Hamilton in the East and Saskatchewan in the West. Winnipeg probably qualifies for that as well. We're talking about just atmosphere, recent records, just performance-based, stuff here with these teams. But if you want to just talk about straight up geography, I hate to say it, but there's not a lot going on in Saskatchewan, okay? Like when people think about like Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver, the major cities in Canada, they're not really talking about farm country when it comes to Saskatchewan. So, I'm sure you can think of, Kelly, different places in the States for college or NFL where it's similar. Saskatchewan's like that. Like, this is the city that 5, 6, 7 hours before the game, they're tailgating. I've heard something that there's a bar across the street that people will get so hammered and then they'll rent bikes and they'll bike to the game, or they'll hop on shuttles and like there'd be a shuttle to take them to the game. Like, that is the spot. So this Mosaic Stadium is a spot with home field advantage. So if we're breaking down this number, we'd have two of the best teams. As I mentioned, these teams were in the Western Finals last year, and I just disagree with the number wholeheartedly. Also, this is a team that didn't really lose much offensively. They did lose some pieces defensively, I will admit that. But offensively, it's pretty much the same. And one thing funny about this team, because they're a bit older, they usually start good. They get banged up. They battle through injuries, and then they get healthy again towards the playoffs. So I want them as healthy as can be. And how much healthier can you be in the first game of the season? It doesn't really get any healthier than that. Hopefully you can be healthy. And just really quick, Kelly, if I may, AJ Ouellette's number is 78.5 for the rushing yards. To me, I think that's actually light. I thought that would be a little bit higher. So I think the over for him, over 78.5, as far as his rushing yards is concerned. And there's one under I like. It's a little bit chalky here. Under 5.5 receptions for Keon Hatcher. It's like 135, 140. There's so many mouths to feed on that BC Lions team. So as much as they're a strong offensive team, there's so many mouths to feed that even if the ball gets spread around, even if they put up 30 points, there's still not an opportunity probably for him to get 6 catches. So the player props are alive. I told Andy Lang he's got to join me now with these CFL props. They're available.
They are available. I just looked. There's a lot more than there used to be. Andrew and I have been doing a lot of work at WagerTalk.com for a long time, and he's taught me a lot about the Canadian Football League. And it was really fun when Brandon Banks was playing for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because it was a K-State guy and it gave you somebody to cheer for, and then Lindsay's husband playing for the Agronauts. I got to find a guy on a team and then at least have something to root for this summer, because we need that little bit of football fix to get us through. We're almost at the end of the NBA finals. The NHL finals are tomorrow. So before we get to Kyle Anthony and Freedom 250, I do want to touch on that. I don't know what to make of this series. I don't say I'm like a huge Golden Knights fan, but living in Las Vegas, it's been really fun to watch their trajectory, Andrew, right? Over the past 5 seasons, they have just been absolutely electric. They've got one Stanley Cup under their belt. They've had some really great playoff runs. VR had mentioned earlier that Carolina in the series had been bet. I had Prez on for 3 weeks in a row, and he kept saying, Carolina's not as good. Carolina's not as good. And I have to say, I don't think they're as good as advertised. But then they show those flashes where they give up, a bunch of goals late, and all of a sudden the game's tied 3-3. And I'm like, oh, here come the Knights. Not so fast. 5-3 final. Kind of one of those things where it's almost like they have another gear. Break down the Stanley Cup final for me so that everybody who's watching today knows what they should be on for tomorrow.
It's very well said by you. And I think that I'm really shocked about the totals in this series. I think a lot of us are. I heard Joe Ranieri say hey, a lot of people thought it was going to be 3-1 score lines. Yeah. I was one of those people. I'm not going to lie to you. I was one of those people who thought we were going to see 3-1, 3-2 games. Carolina has scored at least 4 goals in every single game they've played in this series, even when they've lost. So I'm a bit shocked by that. This is a team known for defense, known for goaltending, known for kind of sitting back soccer style when they have a lead. They haven't really done that. But this to me has actually been coaching, Kelly. When you look at this series, I think that that Vegas did a good job of recognizing that Carolina's defensemen like to pinch forward. That's why they were getting so many breakaways. Carolina's defensemen pitch forward a lot. They're rimming the puck off the boards, and it was breakaway after breakaway because they were sending players up the ice. Now, what Carolina's doing is they're sitting back and waiting to attack. They're scoring all their goals in front of the net. They're not scoring from the outside. Nothing fancy, nothing too exciting, highlight worthy, but a goal is a goal. The big guys are the ones scoring now. Jordan Staal, the captain, he's a pretty good story because he won the cup when he was like 20 years old, and now he's closer to 40, and he has a chance to captain a team to that. And he's the guy that I think is leading this team to success. So I just think that the way that Carolina plays has benefited them more and more and more as the series has gone on. I'm not saying Vegas can't be aggressive, physical, but everyone talks about it in hockey. Games 1 to 4 are way different from games 5 to 7. And that's why Mitch Marner always gets flack, because he couldn't have had a bad game in game 6 and 7 in the last few series, Kelly, because the series just didn't go that far. So I like Carolina to close it out. And I am never, ever, ever a puck line guy, except in elimination games. Unfortunately, in hockey, a lot of these closeout Stanley Cup games aren't really close. Like the series are close, and then we see like 4-1 final. So, as much as I'm a fan, I want to see a close game. This is a spot for a puck line for me. Little sprinkle for me as well on Nikolai Ehlers to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. Everyone keeps talking about the trophy as if it's a finals MVP trophy. That couldn't be further from the truth. If anyone tells you that, tell them it's a playoff trophy. So Jordan Staal is playing well in the last 3 games. Doesn't mean he's going to win the playoff trophy.
Hey, listen, that makes sense to me. It's better than the guy for the Golden Knights that Prez told me to bet. And then I Googled him and found out that he has some serious allegations against him. And I'm going, these sports writers aren't going to vote for this guy, whether he deserves it or not. And then the next game, he gave up 3 goals within, I think, 5 minutes. And I was like, well, it's not going to win anyway. So we don't have to worry about it. Andrew McInnis, appreciate you as always. I know you've been on a nice little NHL run over at WagerTalk.com. Let everybody know where they can get your picks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kelly. Plus 47 units since May 1st, all sports. Baseball, probably 2 NBA mixed in there, all hockey plays, and, of course, the CFL. So 5% play goes tonight. Use the promo code CFL299 to get the full entire season. Why pay $35 for a 5% when you can get the entire season, handful of months, for $299? Say what's up to Kyle for me. Enjoy your day, Kelly. I'll see you guys later.
Yes, we definitely will say what's up to Kyle here in just a minute. We're going to talk some UFC 250 from the White House lawn. I am so excited for this UFC event. But first, I got to tell you guys what's going on over at Picks and Parlay, Sports Memo, and Winners and Winers. If you guys didn't know, they are underneath the Wager Talk umbrella now. And last week, Gianni Detroit had me have 18 different graphics to do this. And I was like, what is going on here? And AI made us a nice slop. Look how beautiful that graphic is. For $1, if you get over to Sports Memo, Picks and Parlays, or Winners and Winers, you're going to use the exact same coupon code. And in fact, you could go to all 3 if you'd like. For $1, you get your first daily picks package for using coupon code BUCK. And if the pick loses, we're going to give you back 3 flex picks into your account. Kyle Anthony, I'm bringing him in right now. UFC 250. Thank you for patiently waiting. You were on so early. And maybe you're doing like me. You take notes. I take notes the whole show because then I can go back and I can say, okay, do I want to bet this WNBA game? Let me look at it a little bit farther or whatever. Same thing with what I'm going to do with your UFC picks for today. Now, promo code UFC20 is going to get you 20% off his 5% package for Sunday. But you've got a couple of free plays for us. Let's just get right into it. Ilya Topuria, Justin Gaethje. Let's hear about it.
Yes, so in the main event here, we have a massive line here. We've got Topuria at -600. In the comeback, we've got Justin Gaethje plus 430. Now, you know what you're getting from Justin Gaethje, and you know what you're getting from Topuria. And really, with Topuria, you're getting elite-level boxing. You're getting a guy that's got incredible counter-striking, works the body well, mixes up his combinations. And the one thing that he has that we all know is incredible knockout power. This guy goes out there and knocks everybody out. He has high-level grappling, which he hasn't really had to use just because he's been knocking everybody out and hasn't needed to utilize it. But on the other side here, you've got Gaethje, who is pretty much a willing dance partner in this spot, where you've got Gaethje, who's going to come forward, who wants to throw, who thrives in chaos. And that's where he has found success throughout his career, where he's going to block punches with his face, but he's going to keep coming forward. He's going to be aggressive, and he's really not going to look for takedowns. And that's kind of how I think this fight probably plays out, where it's going to primarily be on the feet, which I think everyone's kind of hoping for, because you look at really Gaethje, he does have wrestling in his back pocket, but he doesn't really utilize it for the most part. Over his 15 UFC fights, he's only secured 4 takedowns over that entire span, and 3 of them were in his last fight against Paddy Pimblett. And the one thing that he might be able to do is that he is going to be the bigger man. He absolutely has the size advantage in this fight, and that's going to be interesting to see if he tries to utilize the wrestling and get this fight to the ground. But the biggest issue here for Gaethje is going to be how hittable he is. This guy will has terrible striking defense. He has a negative striking differential, meaning he's getting hit a lot more than he is landing on his opponent. And that's really where I look at this, where he's now 37 years old, going to be 38 soon, a ton of MMA mileage on him. And if Paddy Pimblett was able to find a lot of success on the feet, although he lost that fight and clearly lost the fight, but the boxing was somewhat competitive. Paddy does not have anywhere near the striking of Ilia Topuria here. And Topuria now kind of really calling out for this knockout, does not want to look for this submission here. And it's what he's done, over his 9 UFC victories, 6 are by knockout here. And I think that's where this goes. And I think it's early. Again, Gaethje is a willing dance partner. He is going to throw in the pocket, and getting off the -600 number, you can get inside the first 2 rounds by knockout is +100. I think that is a really strong spot. Both of them will go for it. Again, probably not much grappling here. I think that this plays out as an early knockout for Topuria.
Oh, I like it. VR was on early, and I asked him, I said, hey, what do you think about this UFC card? I think it's awesome from I'm so excited for 4th of July. I'm so excited for the summer. But he said it's a chalky card.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that? Is that what our audience should be expecting? Like, hey, guys, there's just some matches, there's just some UFC cards where the favorites are just significantly higher for a reason. Do you agree with his synopsis on Freedom 250?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be that. And the one thing is there's going to have to be an upset here. I mean, there's going to be a landmine somewhere on this card that's going to really screw up a lot of people's parlays and those kinds of things. But the other part about it, I've got 6 plays right now locked in for clients, one of them being the 5%. And some of these we're looking for methods of victory. We're looking to whittle that price down a little bit, not just play a big favorite here. I know he was talking about Hokit. Hokit is a really, this is a spot where a lot of people like him. He's annoying, a weirdo, but all of those things considered, this guy, could go out there and get the knockouts. You can start to play that kind of angle and kind of whittle these down. But it is definitely a chalky card, to say the least. But again, a lot of opportunities here to make money on.
Yeah, right now you guys can get UFC coupon code, UFC 20 $20 off Kyle's entire 5% package, WT.buzz/KA for today. Okay, let's break down the second fight. You mentioned you like to find different methods of victory. And this one, you got a guy to win inside the distance, Bo Nickal versus Kyle Daukaus.
Yeah, so we got Bo Nickal here. He's sitting around that -320 mark. And Kyle Daukaus here, he's about +245. And when you look at Bo Nickal, he's a guy that has elite level wrestling. He was a multiple-time collegiate champion. And, since he's been to in MMA, 8-1 as a pro, 7 of them are inside the distance. And he's a guy that's really going to look to, get the takedowns, have the strong top control, look for submissions, ground and pound. And that's what he is probably going to be able to do. But you also look at it that he is an exceptional athlete compared to Kyle Daukaus here, and plus improved striking. He's a wrestler, primarily that's his base. He's definitely has, elevated it. We saw it against Rodolfo Vieira in his recent fight where he had cleaner combinations, more confidence in the pocket. But you look at Daukaus, and this is a guy who's on his second stint in the UFC. First time around, he was 2-4-1, back-to-back knockout losses. Goes out to CFFC, a small organization, wins 4 straight fights. And now there's a little bit of, hey, is this a rejuvenation? He's back in the UFC. He's got a couple wins. Is this a big spot for him? But the question here, and I think the biggest question in this spot is, can Daukaus implement a similar game plan that Rainer de Ridder had against him in the only loss that Bo Nickal had? And that was really just overwhelming. He was pushing him up against the fence, a lot of control time, knees to the body, just really working him. And once Bo couldn't get the takedowns and get his wrestling going, he absolutely melted. And that's really, I think, probably how I think Dawkins tries to really implement his game plan in this spot, but I don't really think so. I think this is a spot here where this is a levels fight here. I think that, Dawkins is not going to be able to grind on him, not going to be able to look for takedowns. Bo's offensive and defensive wrestling is way too good here. And also the other part I think that, is a little bit overrated is Dawkins is striking. He's knocked a couple of guys out on the regional scene. These guys had records of like 8-12, 7-9, and they look good when you rewatch him. It's nice knockouts, nice submissions, but these are guys that are just absolutely low level. I think this is a spot where Bo is the harder hitter. I think he's got better striking, actually, and I think that he can look for the takedowns if needed and bully him. And Dawkins also has a suspect chin, so I think this is a spot where it's all going to remind us why Dawkins was cut in the first place here. So I do like Bo Nickel inside the distance here. I don't think we see the cards, and I think he dominates here in the White House.
All right. So typically you do I wouldn't say it's like a long shot parlay, but you put together a parlay that has really good odds. Did you do one of those for Freedom 250?
I will be doing that tomorrow. Again, I mean, I feel like we normally have these conversations and the event's like, in a couple hours. Yes. But yeah, so it is tomorrow. Remind everybody, it's tomorrow, 8 o'clock, 7
You
fight.
don't want to go up against the World Cup. You can kind of be within the Stanley Cup Finals,
right?
On the West Coast. Well, no, wait, they're going to be back in.
No,
they're in Vegas. It is going to be.
Yeah.
So these kind of things make a lot of sense to me. Unlike the NBA Finals going head to head with the World Cup, like what do we?
Yeah,
do?
right.
So you will be having a parlay out, is the answer.
Yeah, so I'll be releasing that tomorrow at some point. Also, the violence parlay, I like to do that as well. Pick 3 or 4 methods of victory for a lottery ticket there. And again, when I put these out, people got to, it's a fun, we're taking a shot at it bet. This is not, we're putting multiple units on or that kind of thing. I know people go crazy over that as well. So they're fun ones, but as well as we've hit a bunch of these over the last couple of years. So I'm expecting some good things this weekend.
It's kind of like my 3-team underdog parlays in college football. Like I'm looking for teams that are going to cover the spread, that have a shot to win outright. And you're doing the same thing. You're looking for a little bit of long shots, like you said, different methods of victory.
Right. And even if you people want to hit it every weekend, you hit one of them and it makes up for like 2 months, of the missing. So it's like, the people are like, you missed again. I'm like, a couple of weeks ago, we crushed
like
one.
me, do you recommend that people bet them straight as well?
The way a lot of times that I kind of position these, sometimes they are client plays. Sometimes there's a piece of a client play in there, or it's a method of victory off of it. But a lot of times these are ones that I really like that didn't make my card, that are ones that are just on the cusp of it. And that's kind of how I ladder it with that. But yeah, I mean, I think these are opportunities, again, to swing for the fences and have some fun with it as well.
Yeah, listen, I watch UFC fights like this, Kyle. I'm like, oh God, there's a lot of blood. It's a little gory. Like, oh God, they just kicked him in the jaw and his eyeballs falling out of his socket.
And then what do you do when you have money on it? It must be even worse. So if you're watching with the blood and then you've got money on it, you must be out of there. You must be.
Listen, I'm having a great time. I enjoy watching it with a big group of people, having people over to watch the fights. And that is what I will be doing tomorrow, the second I land in St. John. But first, get there. And that is tomorrow. So no show tomorrow. So appreciate Kyle coming on today. Kyle, anything else you'd like to leave our audience with before we get you out of here?
No, and I guess the last thing I got to say really is that this is a huge card, right? This is a massive card. It's a big card, but every week there's betting opportunities. Every week, there's 45 events throughout the year. We're making money on these small cards where nobody's heard of anybody. So we always got to look at that.
When you send it to me and I know all 4 fighters, that's how you know it's a big event, because I know their names. And if you're not struggling with the name, then we know that this is a very well-known card. This is very well known. Very good point by Kyle. Usually I'm like, who? How do I say this? I have to Google it and listen to it a few times, and then I still butcher it.
Just talk. Just talk. Just go. Just say something.
There's a whole video that John Hoagland did last summer when we were out there, and I was reading all the names. I'm like, I hate you. You didn't even give me any of the easy ones. That's okay. Kyle Anthony, WT.buzz/KA. As I mentioned right now, you guys can get, $28 off his entire UFC package for tomorrow. UFC 20 is the coupon code, WT.buzz/K. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you to Andrew McInnis. Thank you to Skee Profit. And of course, thanks to Gianni the Greek. He's going to be up here next doing the Steam Room. And I'm getting out of here, guys. Marty got vacation on the brain. I hope you guys have a wonderful and profitable weekend. Thanks for those who are premium subscribers here on WagerTalk.com. Thanks to those who are YouTube subscribers. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you are not subscribed, you're behind the 8 ball. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys make it a good one. And USA. God, that was so much fun last night.